Hello guys, how are you doing? This is Rob of Ro2R Review. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about the Game Awards, and I want to discuss if it's maybe finally time to start taking the Game Awards seriously.
F the Oscars, you know?
No, it's not. Okay, so clearly the angle I'm going for here is that no, it's not time to take the Game Awards seriously. However, the caveat to that is that I don't think it's time to take them seriously just yet. What's been really cool about the Game Awards, I think, over the last few years is that, in my opinion, personally, I feel like we've seen the Game Awards improve their show, improve their presentation, improve the amount of effort Jeff Keighley and that whole team is putting into the show. And I think that we're starting to see a situation where the average gamer, the average person who would otherwise tune into the show, has been getting more and more excited, more and more interested. And Jeff Keighley has definitely been pulling a couple of tricks, some might call them cheap tricks, into the show to make it seem more appealing. So my opinions on the Game Awards are pretty well documented. I've discussed it a few times in my own videos and live streams, also appearing on the Spawncast a few times over the last couple of months. I've talked about it as well. I think that, honestly, the Game Awards is pretty cool, you guys. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy the fact that the Game Awards exist. Now, it's not that I don't completely acknowledge how ridiculous the whole idea is, how very bad many of the years have been. In fact, I don't think there's been one actually great year yet in the now 5 or 6 some odd years that Jeff Keighley has been doing it. But I think that just the mere fact that we're given an annual show that is about supporting the game industry, yes, it's very commercialized. There's no doubt about it. They're also trying to sell us products. Okay, that's a thing we have to just accept. But when we look at it just being a show that happens once a year, it's dedicated to bringing people in the industry who make games together, fans and gamers together. We all, as people who watch and YouTube and live stream and are just gaming fans in general, we come together just to watch it every December, every year. I can't help but think that, hey man, that's pretty cool. I discussed this on my most recent live stream. I'm somebody who's old enough to have grown up in the late 80s and in the 90s, as a gamer, and I remembered when I would have killed to have something that is a video presentation, like a TV show, a movie, a video clip show, anything that would just be about video games. At that time, the way we grew up at that time, you didn't get anything, any sort of shows or presentations about video games. The only time you saw anything about video games is when you turned on your NES or your Super NES or your Genesis or whatever, your computer, your Apples and your Amigas back in the day. That's the only time you saw anything about games, is when you turned a video game on to play it yourself. Nowadays, I think obviously maybe the younger generation, I think I can use this word, is a little spoiled. I think that they've become used to the fact that, hey, you can just turn on anything on your computer screen, anything on your phone in your pocket or your video game console, and you can just watch videos like this, videos of people like me talking to you about video games and showing video game footage and having breakdowns of lists and previews and trailers and reviews. Yo, that didn't exist 15, 20 years ago, like when somebody who's my age was growing up. And so that's why part of my opinion on enjoying the Game Awards is what it is, because I can only just appreciate the fact that we live in a world where not only can I watch stuff about gaming, but I can even be somebody who talks to you guys about gaming. And the Game Awards, to me, while again, it's not like it's great, it's not very prestigious, it's not like we've really been given reason to believe that the awards truly matter yet, but it's great that all of us come together, everyone comes together to just celebrate and watch something for a couple of hours about video games. And so, with my opinion out of the way kind of about just the Video Game Awards in general, that brings us back to kind of the main idea that I started the video with. Is it time to start taking them seriously? And as I said, of course, no, I don't think it is yet time to take them seriously. I don't think that this year's Game Awards is going to suddenly be the most perfect example of how to make the Video Game Awards as prestigious as something like the Oscars or Grammys or Tonys, whatever the case may be, like an officially acknowledged and accepted awards for that industry, in this case, video games. That's not going to happen this year. But also, like I alluded to, I do think that we're getting there, and that's kind of what I think is pretty interesting. Also, you know, I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, I think that we've been seeing the increasing quality of the show every year, and we've also been seeing the increasing interest of the gamer. The one thing I will say about this year's Game Awards, which happens this week, by the way, just a couple of days from today, one thing I'll say is I've never seen a year be filled with so much excitement from the gaming community. I mean, people are acting like they're taking it seriously. There's not as many like kind of like jokes and underhanded jabs at the show and you know, lack of interest in the awards or making fun of Jeff Keighley for what he's doing. Almost unanimously across the board, minus the trolls and stuff, people are like into it. They're excited. People are heaping a lot of praise on Jeff Keighley. And I like to see it, man. You guys know me. I'm not a cynical asshole. Like, I don't like to find the negative side in things. I don't like to think that people are bad people trying to do bad things. So I think Jeff Keighley is like a genuinely cool guy who just tries really hard to try to bring something special to the gaming community every year. Like, I think he sincerely cares about it. And to me, even though it's a lot of years, it is kind of dumb for sure, I think that goes a long way, man. If somebody's got that true passion and they actually care about it because they care about gaming and they care enough that they want people like you and me to see something interesting and valuable in it, that matters, man. Even if you fail sometimes, I think intent goes a long way. And so I have a lot of respect for that. And it's why I also think the community at large, for the most part, is starting to rally behind it more and more. Now, the show still has strides to make, and I think a lot of us know what that is. The main thing is making the awards actually feel like they matter. People can even make fun of the Oscars and stuff all day, but at the end of the day, winning a Best Actor, a Best Actress, a Best Director, and a Best Picture Oscar does still matter. There is prestige still that comes along with it. The people involved in making the movies, they care about winning the awards. Their peers in the industry care about when a movie wins Best Picture or an actor wins Best Actor. And even us as movie fans, I think that we care even if we're like, okay, it's just the Academy just sort of patting each other on the back. Yeah, we get that part of it, but I think it's still interesting, and for the most part, people accept it as something pretty important. And the Game Awards is not there yet, and I think still has quite a few years to go. And a lot of that is a problem of its own making, because they've had a huge issue with doing so many off-screen presentations for awards, and they come back from, you know, a commercial break, whatever we call it in the YouTube world nowadays. And it's like, oh, during the 2-minute break, we gave away, you know, 19 awards to Best Sound, Best Particle Effects, Best Bloom Light, you know, whatever kind of, you know, smaller, more obscure categories they have. And yes, the Oscars and the Grammys and stuff do that too, but not to the degree the Game Awards has. And I think that there needs to be more of a recognition of the actual people winning the awards. Let's start making more names within the industry known for doing what they do. And beyond that, I don't really know what other advice to give, because I don't run an award show and I don't work in the gaming industry. But I'm sure that there are some things that still need to happen behind the scenes from a presentation standpoint to make it seem like the awards matter, to make us, the viewer and the gamer, truly care about these awards. Also, a fairly sizable controversy this year is the fact that there's a lot of non-gaming talent coming to the show and presenters coming to the show, and people speaking, like the Russo brothers, and Rivers Cuomo was just announced from Weezer, and a couple of others that I can't even think of right now. Oh, Christoph Waltz, who's an actor. And it's like, I'll tell you this right now, I actually think it's cool, and I'm excited for that. When you do have important people in any sort of medium coming to represent your show, it does help. It does lend some viability and credibility to it. But the argument is also true that it also kind of detracts from it a little bit, because, well, if they're not gaming personalities, are you just trying to ride the coattails of the Avengers directors just to make more people care about your show? But they're not video game people, they're movie people. And hey, you know, I can kind of see both sides here, because I think it's great that the Russos are coming and I'm excited, but I'm also like, well, yeah, but they're not game people, so I get the criticism. Like, both are kind of true in my book. I think that that's completely fair and possible. And I think that if they can find a way to make more important celebrities within the industry come and make the show feel important, I think that would go a longer way than bringing in movie talent. Because as cool as it is to see movie folks up there, again, they're not really game people, so there is a little bit of a disconnect there. Now, one thing I will stand behind is why I love the Game Awards, and I think they matter, even though I know some people criticize them for this. I am not ashamed to say that, honestly, I love the fact that there's world premieres. I love the fact that they show off new games and trailers, and that companies bring surprises. And many people have talked about, oh, the Oscars don't show movie trailers, so why do we show game trailers at the Game Awards? Because it's video games. It's just different. It's a different audience. It's a different industry. It just makes a little bit more sense. To me, it feels more natural and right and exciting to have video game trailers and new world premieres and previews and stuff at the Game Awards as opposed to doing the same at the Oscars. That I think is one of the few arenas where we can acknowledge the fact that there is a difference between the gaming world and the movie world. In a lot of ways, we want to combine the two and say, let's make gaming and awards feel as prestigious as the movie world's version. Yes, but also we can acknowledge and accept the true and real differences of the industries, the mediums, and the consumers of these products. And that's why I think in the gaming space, an award show like the Game Awards, even if we were going to try to take it as seriously as the Oscars, I think you can still put in these previews and world premieres for brand new games and make it work and feel right. It doesn't feel wrong to me that they do that. You could ruin it by doing it too much and making the commercialized aspect really kind of seep into the programming. And that has been an issue in the past. But I do think that there is a balance that can be struck. And I feel like even last year they struck a good balance. And I expect them to strike a good balance this year as well. And obviously I'm a little bit biased because this year we know Nintendo is coming again. They've appeared several years in a row. And my favorite company, and they've brought some great surprises every year, and that makes me excited. And this year, there may or may not be a really great reason to see what Nintendo's bringing to the show. And so, yes, I'm biased because I expect something great from my favorite company. And, you know, one might say, oh, well, if Nintendo wasn't going to be there, maybe you wouldn't care about the world premieres. Well, that's just not true. I can squash that right now because I am excited for anything Sony, Microsoft, third-party developers are going to show off. I love new games. I love all the consoles. I want to know what's coming soon. And I can personally, you know, enjoy a 2-hour experience of some awards, some interviews with gaming people, and some great trailers for brand new games that maybe I'd never heard of. Like, that is a great 2 to 3 hour show, provided it's entertaining and doesn't feel cheap. And I'm totally on board, man. I think that it works. So I think all I can say is essentially what you guys have probably already gleaned from this conversation. No, it's not yet time to take the Game Awards seriously, but I do think if they stay on this current path, if Jeff Keighley stays the course, I think that within the next 2 to 3 years, we might actually be there. And to me, that's exciting. I like video games. I like the gaming industry. I like being excited for things about gaming. And this show, even in its form right now, which is a little bit broken and awkward and not perfect, still makes me feel those feelings. And I would think that a lot of you guys might feel the same way. I bet a lot of people, they feel like they're not supposed to enjoy the Game Awards, and so they don't let themselves get excited for it. And that's where the trolls come out and start talking crap about this and that on Twitter and YouTube and stuff and making fun of Jeff Keighley or whatever. When it's like, really, you can probably just let your guard down and say, hey, this is just a net gain in the world of gaming. That's the way I look at the Game Awards. To me, it's just a net gain. There's no reason for me to be cynical about it because otherwise we'd have nothing to watch, nothing to get excited for, and I'll take something over nothing because this product isn't so bad that I would rather not have it, you know? Like, there are times where something is so terrible, let's just have it not exist. But other than the year of the VGX, I don't think the Video Game Awards has ever been that bad. The VGX year, I could leave it in the street. I wish that never happened. But every other year, even the most awkward years and the Schick Hydrobot and all that dumb stuff, to me, that was still better than nothing. And I don't think that that has to be a bad thing. So that's my perspective. I'm very excited for the future of the show. I'm very excited for this week's show on Thursday, December 6th. Just a couple of days. It's going to be amazing. I know we're going to get some great stuff and everyone's going to be quite excited about it. So that's why I'm down with the Game Awards for now, man. And let's look out for the next couple years because I think it's just going to get better and more important. So those are my feelings. What do you guys think about this? Are you pro Game Awards? Are you anti Game Awards? Do you see my sort of standpoint where it's still kind of goofy and awkward, but maybe in the next couple years it's really going to have streamlined itself into something to be taken seriously? Or do you think it's just stupid and it's always going to be stupid? Whatever you think, talk about it below. That's going to be it for me. Thanks as always for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Ro2R, and I'll catch you next time on another video.